What's up guys, Jarv here, back today jumping into Destiny 2. Now in today's video we're taking a look at this week at Bungie. This is just launched, so today we learn more about seasonal challenges, also some of the sandbox changes coming in Season 13. So if you want to find out what the buffs and nerfs are going into next season, be sure to stick around and enjoy the video. If you do enjoy the video, be sure to leave a rating down below, that super helps me out here on the channel. Or if you're new here and you want to keep up to date with the latest Destiny 2 content, then be sure to hit subscribe as well. But without further delay guys, let's jump into the video. Another week and another this week at Bungie, and this week is a meaty one with a lot of changes coming to the sandbox, but also some seasonal challenges being added in Season 13. First off though, the trailer for Season of the Redacted, which is rumoured to be called Season of the Chosen, goes live on February 2nd, 2021. So be sure to keep an eye out for that upon the weekly reset on Tuesday. Now next up, Bungie move on to talk about seasonal challenges. So over the last year, they've been looking at ways in which they can reduce the amount of FOMO in Destiny 2. Now FOMO is the fear of missing out, and they've made some recent changes to seasons and how seasonal content is available throughout any given year. Now this week Bungie are looking at Bounties and Bright Dust. Bungie are introducing a new system that not only removes FOMO but gives fresh ways to earn XP and alternative rewards. Now the main design goals here were to provide a guide to new, returning and veteran players for what to do either on a current day or in a new week. Now as well as this, it's also to guide the player through the seasonal content week over week and encourage players to engage with complexities and nuances of the seasonal activity and rituals. And finally as well, to help reduce the penalties on XP and Bright Dust for missing a given week. And with that all being said, Bungie give us a quick breakdown of how the feature works. So every week for the first 10 weeks of a season, between 3 and 10 new challenges will appear automatically for players. Some of the challenges will deal with the seasonal content, and others push players to complete strikes, Gambit and the Crucible, or to focus on non-activity focused Destiny rituals. So things like gaining power, unlocking seasonal artifact mods, or even improving your weapons and armor. Now these challenges can only be completed once per account, but once they become available, these challenges can be completed at any time and do not need to be started or picked up from a vendor. Now completing each challenge will award XP, contributing towards your season pass ranks. Other rewards could be Bright Dust, seasonal currency and other interesting items. So a huge change to how we're going to be earning some XP going into Season 13. A very welcomed one in my opinion, but as always guys, be sure to let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments below. Now an important thing to note here is that they will be removing weekly bounties from the free ritual vendors as a result of this change. So Zavala, Shaxx and the Drifter, Banshee 44 and all the seasonal vendors. Now these vendors will still have daily bounties which reward XP, and the free ritual vendors will still have repeatable bounties for those of us that want to pursue additional XP and Bright Dust. Now as a result of weekly bounties being removed, each strike, Crucible and Gambit seasonal challenge will award between 75 and 300 Bright Dust, and they're also introducing an end of season Bright Dust bonus. So if you can complete nearly all the seasonal challenges, you'll be awarded with a single 4,000 Bright Dust pile bonus. Now additionally to this, each ritual vendor challenge, which is to complete 8 bounties, will award 120 Bright Dust for each character who completes that each week. And because this is prompted by the removal of weekly bounties, the only seasonal challenges that will be awarding Bright Dust are the ones that both season pass owners and free players can complete. Now additionally to this, Bungie still plan to offer weekly and repeatable Bright Dust bounties for seasonal events, giving us more opportunities to earn Bright Dust. And as a final note, it's important to claim all seasonal challenges that award Bright Dust prior to the end of the season, because once the season ends, any associated challenges and their Bright Dust rewards will expire and can no longer be claimed. So that breaks down the seasonal challenges and some of the changes coming to Bright Dust. Now next up though, we move on to the sandbox. Now in preparation for crossplay, which is coming later this year, Bungie are making some changes to the recoil stat. Now currently several weapon archetypes have their recoil stat reduced by around 40% depending on the archetype when using a keyboard and mouse, and this results in an issue where players on keyboard and mouse are able to largely ignore the stability stat on a weapon, creating unintended discrepancies in weapon performance between controllers and mouse and keyboard. Now with that in mind, the following weapon archetypes will have their mouse and keyboard recoil stat adjusted closer to match controllers, and this is a reduction of between 40 and 20%. Now this includes the auto rifle, scout rifle, pulse rifle, submachine gun, hand cannon and machine gun. Now to support some of these changes, Bungie are introducing some buffs, and in some cases these weapons will have less recoil across both controller and mouse when compared to what's in the game currently. Now submachine guns are largely outclassed by auto rifles at medium range and by sidearms at short range. Now, to address this feedback, Bungie are introducing the following changes. So they're reducing camera movement from firing a submachine gun by 24%. Now, as for pulse rifles, they kick a little bit too much even on keyboard and mouse, so they've reduced the camera movement from firing a pulse rifle by 7%. Now, as for machine guns with a keyboard and mouse, these also were kicking a little bit too much, and they've again reduced the camera movement from firing them by 9.5%. Now, whilst we're on the subject of buffs, Bungie talk about rocket launchers and how they've fallen behind other heavy weapons in the game. So as a result, they've increased rocket launcher damage by 30%. Exotic rocket launchers have also been adjusted individually and are affected by this change to different degrees. Now, by pairing this buff with the reserves buff from last season, Bungie are hoping that we'll see a lot more rocket launchers out in the wild in Season 13. Now, as for fusion rifles, these see fairly low usage and have become unreliable in Crucible when compared to shotguns. So they've increased fusion rifle damage fall off start distance based on the range stat. So 6% with a 0 range stat and 16% with a 100 range stat. They've also reduced the camera movement from firing the fusion rifle by 9.5%. So it'll be interesting to see how that one plays out once we get our hands on it in Season 13. Now, to round out our buffs, we're looking at breach grenade launchers. Now, the usage for these is very low. This is outside the use of mountaintop. Now, as a result of this, breach grenade launcher projectiles now detonate on impact with a character, even if you're holding the trigger. So this should improve their usability, and we should see more of these out in the wild when the season kicks off. Now, whenever we see some buffs added with a sandbox update, we are normally seeing some nerfs too, and as a result we are seeing some adjustments to sniper rifles in the up and coming season. Now, Bungie have observed that it's hard to challenge someone with a sniper rifle even if you get the first shot on the enemy, so as a result they've increased the ADS flinch to snipers when taking damage from other players. And alongside this, swords are extremely dominant inside PvE. At this time, 65% of players are using swords in the majority of their gameplay encounters, so as a result Bungie are reducing sword damage by 15% to encourage the use of other options. Now, to round out the changes coming to the sandbox, there are some changes coming to exotics and some bug fixes too. So some exotic weapons lose their buffs when you switch weapons, which is intended. They would also lose their buffs though when pulling out your ghost shell, which is not intended. So this has now been fixed on the Ace of Spades, Taraba and Hawkmoon as of Season 13. Borealis and Hardlight now have a custom animation for switching their damage type too. Now, as for Duality, this has had a increased damage fall off distance by 1.25 meters, and this is while both firing from the hip and aiming down sights. They've also reduced the maximum buff stacks from 7 to 5, with each stack now granting more of a damage bonus and extending the buff duration slightly. Stern will once again reload any equipped special slot weapon on a kill, providing the special weapons clip isn't full already, and they finally fixed an issue that was preventing Merciless from increasing its charge rate on non-lethal kills. Now, this rounds out all the sandbox updates from this week at Bungie, but there will be more nerfs and buffs and changes coming in Season of the Redacted. This goes live on February 9th, so be sure to jump in and let Bungie know your thoughts. Now, to wrap up this week at Bungie, they move on to talk about Crimson Days. Now, this is a seasonal event we normally see every year to help celebrate the bonds of friendship throughout the community. Now, Bungie feel this is missing the mark in terms of quality when compared to previous years, and as such, they've made the decision to discontinue Crimson Days moving forward. Now, as for the fate of Crimson Doubles, the once-a-year Crimson Days playlist, this mode has currently been shifted to the Destiny Content Vault, but may return in the future. So as things currently stand, there's no seasonal event when the new season kicks off on February 9th. So there we have it. That's going to round out this week at Bungie for the 28th of January 2021. A lot in there, a lot of changes, especially to the sandbox, and some welcome changes with seasonal challenges. But as always, guys, be sure to let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, if you have enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a rating down below. That super helps me out here on the channel. Or if you're new here and you want to keep up to date with the latest Destiny 2 content, be sure to hit subscribe as well. I'm going to jump back into the game as always, guys, and I will catch you all again very soon.